All right, folks. So I'm live. Yay, live on Facebook and Instagram. Welcome back to yet another edition of Wednesday's Writing Workshop. I am Dr. Sarah L. Webb, your host. From week to week, I look forward to these things. I always get a lot of energy and excitement and enthusiasm, and I always feel great afterwards. So thank you all for tuning in from week to week, whether this is your first time tuning in or whether you're a regular and you come back every time. I thank you for that. I appreciate it. I love the positive vibes. So as you're tuning in, make sure you say hello. Make sure you wave. Make sure you tell me where you're tuning in from, especially if it's your first time tuning in. I'm going to say, hey, Diana, welcome. This is going to be a good one, so stay tuned. I'm excited about this week. Hey, Sienna, welcome back. So this is a special edition of Wednesday's Writing Workshop because it is my sister's birthday. Yay! Happy birthday to Jandelle Crutchfield. So what I'm going to be talking about is sisterhood. Okay, yeah. So she said, hey. Well, hey, Jandelle on Facebook. My sister's watching from Facebook. So this is going to be a special edition of the Writing Workshop. I'm going to share 3 lessons that I've learned about sisterhood from living for the past 35 years with my sister. She's 38. I'll be 35 in June. And with those lessons, we're going to share some anecdotes, some writing prompts, and some affirmations as always. So stay tuned. Hi, Sienna. Yes, thank you for saying hey. Diana waved. So again, I'm Sarah, and I do these every week. So this is colorismhealing.com. I am a writer, an English professor, so I teach a lot of writing classes. I write and publish my own work. I have an international writing contest. So in addition to being passionate about colorism, I also try to approach the subject from writing and literature, right? And so that's why I do these from week to week. To not only talk about my passion for colorism, but also weave in my passion for writing and literature and the English language and that sort of thing. I am going to be giving you updates on the writing contest soon. So it's the last week of school for me. So I'm going through the whole grading thing, trying to get final grades turned in. I think for the first time ever in my life, I will not be submitting grades at the last minute, okay? But once I get through this period, you will be seeing a lot more follow-up to the writing contest. Of course, the book is going to come out. We're going to do another live book launch and all that. So stay tuned on whatever platforms you like, whether it's Instagram for you or Facebook or email or Twitter. You will be seeing more news about that. Okay, so we're going to get started with the lessons for today. Again, the 3 lessons on sisterhood with some writing prompts. You can think of them as journal prompts as well. And then affirmations, since I include affirmations with all of my lessons. And be sure to type in the comments. This is always interactive from week to week. So I do ask questions and I read your comments out loud as they appear. All right. So the first lesson that I've learned, well, actually, before I jump into my lessons, I'm curious to know how you all define sisterhood, right? So not everybody has a biological sister, right? But we might have women in our lives that we can talk to about things that we enjoy talking to, that we look up to, that inspire us and support us in various ways. So of course, sisterhood applies to all of you, even if you don't have a sister, okay, a biological sister, right? And so we might have extended family or fictive kin or friends who feel like sisters to us, right? So keep those women in mind for you as well. And I also know Mother's Day is coming up. So a lot of you might feel like your mothers are also kind of like sisters to you. So again, the first lesson is that just because people expect us to compete doesn't mean we have to, okay? So the first lesson I learned from living with and being loved by my older sister, Jandelle, is that just because the world expects us to compete as women, as sisters, does not mean that we have to compete, okay? So my sister, she's 3 years older than me, and she was very popular in high school, extremely smart. She was the high school valedictorian. Those of you who have known us for a while know all this, right? She was homecoming queen. She was the first Black homecoming queen in her high school. She was senior class president, right? So she was like super popular and super smart at the same time. And I remember one day after an award ceremony, this guy said to me, well, you must be very jealous or whatever. And I remember thinking that was a really strange thing to say, because I had never felt jealous whenever my sister would win awards, right? The only thing I can remember feeling was pride. The only thing I can remember thinking was like, I want people to know that that's my sister, right? So people might expect, especially among women, right, whether you're biological sisters or just sisters by association or by common interests, right? A lot of people expect us to be competitive, to be jealous, right? There's a stereotype that women have, that girls have, that we have to be competitive and petty and jealous, right? But growing up with a sister who was around my same age, I learned that no, jealousy and competitiveness is not the default. It doesn't have to be the default. We can choose to feel proud of each other instead, okay? Hey, June, welcome. Good to see you. I'm glad you tuned in. So the writing prompt that I have related to that lesson is, what are you proud of your sisters for? Again, whether they're your biological sisters or just women, girls that you know that you've interacted with, right? And they could actually be cousins, your mother. What is something that you are proud of a woman that you know in your life for, right? So for me, I listed my sister's accomplishments growing up and how people expected me to be jealous of her. But in actuality, I just felt proud, right? I felt proud that that was my sister. And so I'm proud of her for all those accomplishments, you know, for her getting her PhD, but I'm also just proud of her living her day-to-day life and being a kind woman, being a woman who's inclusive and accepts people for who they are, who's always accepted me and encouraged me, okay? And so the affirmation with that lesson is that I can celebrate my sister's win without being afraid that I will lose, okay? A lot of times, we have the stereotype that women are, that there's a limited amount of space, right? There's not enough space for everyone, right? So if I don't get the attention, then someone else is going to get it. Or if I don't get the job, or if I don't get the spot on the cheerleading team, right? Then that means I've lost out. But in actuality, I can celebrate my sister's win without being afraid that it takes something away from me, right? I don't have to fear that applauding another woman means that I lose, right? I don't have to be afraid that another woman getting an award or getting attention or getting props means that I lose those things, right? So it's not a zero-sum game. There is space for everyone to shine. So Jandel says, right. Oh, I have some more comments on Facebook. I'm going to read those out. June says, hey, girl, hey, me too. Janelle says, creating colorism healing and living in her truth in a colorist world. And she says, oh, thanks, sis. Okay, so my second lesson about sisterhood that I've learned from being a younger sister is that having someone to talk to about the hard things can save your life. Okay, so again, lesson 2 is that having someone to talk to about the hard things can save your life, right? So I asked you all to think about what sisterhood means to you. How would you define or identify someone that you think of as a sister? And I think one of the qualities of a sister, whether biological or not, is that you can talk to them about hard things. You can talk to them about difficult feelings, right? And you might not talk to them about everything, right? So one sister you might talk to about difficulties at work, right? And another sister you might talk to about difficulties with dating, right? Or difficulties with your health, right? So depending on that sister and the experiences that they've had, you might talk to different women for different reasons. But definitely, if you cannot talk to them about difficult feelings, about being sad, or even just talking you off the ledge, right? So you might be trying to quit your job or, date somebody that you shouldn't be dating, right? And so that sister can be supportive for you and they can give you advice and give you guidance. And so I am grateful for my sister who's done that for me. And she says, sister has all your history and still loves you. Oh, so my sister on Facebook is defining a sister as someone who knows everything about your history and still loves you anyway. Okay, so we're not going to talk about what my sister has on me, okay? But just know that despite that, she still loves me anyway, as do I love you as well. So the lesson, or the writing prompt, I'm sorry for that, is Can you recall a time when you were talked off a ledge or talked into your greatness by another woman? Right? So those sisters, they not only give us advice and sort of warn us when we might be going outside the bounds of, safety or that kind of thing, but they can also talk us into our greatness. So if you're doubting yourself, if you're experiencing self-doubt or afraid to take that next step in your career, or afraid to wear that dress that you look good in, but you're a little self-conscious about it, a good sister will talk you off the ledge as well as talk you into your greatness, right? And support you on both sides. They'll support you when you're having a difficulty, and they'll support you when you're winning, right? And so then the affirmation for that lesson is that I don't have to do this alone. I can find support when I need it. Okay, so this is an affirmation that you can say for yourself. And for those of you who feel like you haven't found sisterhood yet, or brotherhood, right? So this applies to any sort of bond that we might have with people, right? Your sister doesn't have to be a woman or a female. But saying this affirmation for yourself, knowing that you don't have to do this alone, that you can find support when you need it, right? And sometimes it just takes Googling a hotline number, right? So in a crisis, for example, your sister might be a total stranger, right? That person who steps up and becomes that sister for you in that moment and that difficult time might be someone on the other line, on the other side of a phone call, right? If you call a crisis hotline, right? Or it might be the counselor that you see for just a few months to help you get through a bout of depression, right? So your sister, the role of a sister can come from anyone, right? Who steps up and supports you in the ways that you need, right? As well as having those lifelong sisterhood relationships, people who've known you your entire life and who love you despite seeing you on your worst days, right? Hey, JC, my nephew JC, my sister's son, is typing in the chat and saying hello. Hey, JC. Okay, so my last lesson, I said this will be brief because I have to get back to grading. I'm trying to finish all my grading for my 3 classes this week. So I'll have a full-length workshop next Wednesday. But for now, I want to end with one more thing, and this is related to colorism explicitly. So for those of you who don't know, my sister is several shades lighter than me. I wish I had a picture to show you, but she's several shades lighter than me. You can search through my social media profiles and see lots of pictures of us, right? So one important lesson that my sister has taught me is that light-skinned girls and dark-skinned girls can understand each other and really love each other, right? So again, similar to the first point that I made, there's a stereotype there. There's an expectation that there's always competition, right? Or that we have to be at odds with each other, right? But having a light-skinned sister my whole life, this is going to sound cliche, but my best friend is light-skinned, right? So I never felt that animosity to women of different skin tones, right? My mom is also fair-skinned. And then the same with her. So she's never looked down on other women who were darker because she's admired me as a darker-skinned woman, right? So she's always felt herself equal to, you know what I mean, instead of above women who are different skin tones. And there are many times that my lighter skinned sister, she has lighter eyes, she has a looser curl pattern and everything, right? But a lot of times she acknowledges light skin privilege. She acknowledges the fact that people have treated us differently throughout the years, right? And she's never accepted the praise or the people tried to pit us against each other, right? So I recall one time, there's one story when I had a friend in elementary school, it might've been in 1st grade. And I don't remember the ethnicity of this friend, but she appeared to be white. I think she was a white girl, but we were friends. So we got into an argument as elementary school kids would. And she went over to my sister and she said, well, that's why I like your sister better than you because she's white and you're black, right? So in her elementary school mind, you know, my sister was white and I was black. And so my friend at the time, because she was angry with me, she said, well, you know, that's why I like your sister better than you because she's white and you're black, right? My sister, though, as a person, she never bought into that. She never bought into the hype, of being better than, right? She always actually rejected it, right? She would outright reject it and say, no, I'm not better than my sister. I'm not better than my brother. They are my siblings. You know, I'm just like them. Like, they are not any less than me. And if you don't treat them right, then I can't associate with you, right? If you don't treat my darker skinned sister equally or fairly, then I will also disassociate with you, right? You can't be my friend and reject my sister, right? So I really appreciate that from Jendelle. And so she says on Facebook, I remember that clear as day. She was barking up the wrong tree. That's right. Hey, Jara, I'm so glad you got to tune in. June says, boo, grading. So the writing prompt that I have for you all in terms of that lesson is that write what you want other women to know about you, and then also write what you want to know about them. So let me break that down. So I, as a darker skinned woman, would write what I wish lighter skinned women knew about my experience. Okay. But then on the flip side of that, I'm also going to write a little bit about what I want to know about them, right? So what I want to know about lighter skinned women, right? So if you are lighter skinned, you would flip that, right? So as a lighter skinned woman, you would write what you hope darker skinned women knew about you. And then you would also write a reflection about what you want to know about darker skinned women's experiences, right? And so the affirmation I'm going to leave you with might help that make more sense, right? So the affirmation is that I am open to understanding, and I am open to being understood. Okay. So I'm open to sharing my story so that people who've had a different experience can know where I'm coming from. And I'm also open to listening to other people's experiences and understanding where they're coming from. We have another comment from Tanisha. She says, kids can be so cruel. I work with my students all the time on this light, dark issue. Absolutely. I'm glad you do. So we definitely need teachers to help fill in the gap, right? So again, kids especially might not have found that sisterhood, that supportive sisterhood yet. So they can find that in teachers, right? And supportive teachers, for sure. So thank you for doing that. Again, happy birthday. Everyone join me in saying happy birthday to my sister, wishing her a happy birthday. Thank you for the lessons that you've taught me. Thank you for supporting me and helping me to see the beauty in myself. Even though I look different from you, you always affirm my beauty, and I appreciate you for that. And I hope to do the same for your kids, right? Help teaching them about their melanin. I'm going to have to do a lesson on that because I do virtual library time with my niece and nephew all the time. Diana says, happy birthday, Jendelle. I do virtual library time with my niece and nephew, and I was teaching them about melanin, right? And so the stereotype that darker skin is bad or, not nice, right? When you think about what melanin is, you realize, hey, melanin is kind of magic, right? It's actually, my body's way of protecting me. Like, that's a good thing. More melanin means more protection. So I love y'all. I can't wait for next week. And I hope that my sister has a great birthday. And she says thank you to everyone who is wishing her a happy birthday. On that note, I'm going to go and I'm going to make myself do some more grading, but after eating dinner. I'm going to eat dinner first. All right, y'all. See y'all next week. Love y'all. Bye.